All right, for those of you who have been following along, there's my little bridge. I'm going to guess that it's 12 foot or so, crossed, Da Vinci style. So I put in the post, I've got it roughed in, it's skirted. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to make a center rail so that I can use rebar, and thick rebar, 3/4 inch, and make some handrails over it. So I'm going to do a little decorative centerpiece today. So I'll be cutting that. I don't have much light, so I imagine all I'm going to do is just get that cut so that I can use it. Okay, right here is 6 foot. This is a 12-foot post. It's got a little twist in it, so it's not anything I could build with. But all right, so what I'm going to do, I know I don't need 6 foot at the top of that, so I'm just going to go ahead and start crossing some pieces. I want a little decorative at the bottom of the post that hangs down under the bridge. I want it to be a little decorative fang, if you will. So I'm going to cut it, and then I'll cut the little fang part off. So I'm going to do 2 at once. So according to my calculations, if I cut here, cut there, cut here, and cut there, I'll have a pyramid-shaped piece. I'll cut the little tooth off that would bite, and then I'll have a little decorative piece made with a chainsaw. So that's what I'm after here. Well, I think I'm gonna do it. Maybe. Oh, gotta move you out of my way a little bit. I could be out of the way over here. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I've never done it, so I'm just guesstimating. Yeah, I think that'll work. Find out together, shan't we? How's that for a little decorative knurl, huh? Not half bad. Eyeballing with the chainsaw. Whoop, dropping it on my foot. Is it perfect? I think it is. I think it is. All right, very good. I'm totally happy with those. I got a little decorative flare to them. Now I can set them up over there, make them right. All right, I'm staggering these just a little bit by 2 inches because I don't have, with the logs had a taper, so I don't have level. When I put concrete on there, it'll be level. So I'm going to end up shimming this so that it's up at the same height. I'm going to end up shimming this so it's at the same height. So it's a 2-inch drop, well, about 1.5 inches. So the side that's going to be shimmed up, cantilevered up, it'll pull it up 1.5 inches. So that's why it's 1.5 inches out. So I want these to dangle down. I'm just going to estimate 16 inches. I want them to dangle down 16 inches. It's just an arbitrary number that I picked. So now I have 2x4s that will go right on that at a little bit of an angle. I don't have any flat surface out here to build from, so. And then 3, so I need 8.5. So I need to cut these so that it fits 8.5. Also, I might as well find center here. Well, this will let me know how long this bridge is too. I honestly don't know. I built it. I built it to match this spot. Oh, it's 9 foot straight on. All right, so 4.5 is the midpoint. Let's mark that midpoint. That's where I want the post to dangle down. If I can get close and that's the right size, I can run screws into there, into that post, help settle it in, but it'll rest just with the 2x4s right there. All right, let's prune that up. Let's see if I'm strong enough to pick this up. Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and put it on the bridge. It is getting late. This is a really good low light camera. So it's darker in real than it is in that camera. But the sun's gone down already. I'm just living on twilight. But I'm still going to try to put it up and swivel it up so I can eyeball it and see what it's like in the morning. I obviously can't put in the rebar rails and all that. But let's try to get it up. All right, this is how people get hurt. Let's get hurt. Apologies for the very low light, but I want to get this up so I can see it in the morning. So, you know, I told you that it's the bridge, because it's made of logs, they're fatter on one end than the other, so the bridge has a little taper, and I've been building against that, straighten it out. So this thing, I made this end a little longer so that I could prop it up and get it straight. But I'm going to go ahead and cut the first, this is treated lumber. I'm going to cut the first one of these spacers and get it underneath there, but I might have to put two. I'm not even going to measure level yet until I get this underneath there, because I know that it's off at least this much. I measured 2-inch drop is what I measured. So, but then 2x4 of course is 1.5 inches. All right. Now we'll look at it, and then I'll look at it going, you know, this way through the bridge, and just eyeball it this evening. I won't put any screws. Oh, that's level. I only needed one spacer, as I suspected. All right. All right, well, it's way too dark to see, isn't it? I'm going to level those last posts watch my silhouette go across the bridge. All right. Now that's without any concrete over top or anything like that. Nothing on the footings. I think once I pour the concrete on there, I'm going to be in good shape. I've got one post to straighten out. I'm going to do that in the dark. All right, it's the next day. I'm taking a look. I'm going to continue on with building the handrails and whatnot, but I should already be doing earth bag. It hasn't rained yet in all of November except one day. But it'll rain, fill this up. I won't be able to earth bag that like I want to. I'm being a little silly. I noticed rewatching video last night, there's a little spring in that. Now keep in mind that I'm going to overtop it with concrete, some rebar in that. I honestly think when I'm done doing that the wood could rot out and the concrete will stay. It'll be about 3 inches thick with rebar in it. In addition, I'm going to use rebar for the handrails. It's got a little, a little scroll in it. And so I like the little decorative that I did here with my chainsaw. I just carved that out myself. It looks good. I think the ugly duckling bridge is beginning to look pretty good. Apologies, there's high winds today. Whenever it's like that, I can't breathe. So I'll apologize ahead of time for me not being able to breathe. I don't really have allergies, but all the dust in the air when it does this is super hard. That's why cowboys used to wear the mask riding out on horses. This looks pretty good, doesn't it? I mean, the promise of a nice bridge here. It's still pretty rough. I'm walking over it, a little side to side sway, but nothing as far as going down. So like I say, I'll put batten boards on the outside. I'll fill the insides with rebar. The outside will be filled with regular high compression, high strength concrete all the way down. The landing pad will be there. I'll use some of these stones to give a little decorative flair to this entire area, as if it's red rock cliff. This will be like it's a cliff. And then in the middle, half of this, and I think I'll do it this way, half of this will be styrofoam and half of it will be perlite, with because I want to do a lightweight concrete and see how it wears. So full regular concrete in the sides to give it the support and arch, and there'll be rebar in that. And that's why I think this bridge, I think it'll last a couple of 100 years more if people take care of the cement. But all of this from here to there will be battened with concrete. So this will be a regular concrete I-beam, if you will. I'm going to try to make it an arch. I don't know how close I'll get to that. Same thing here, a batten with concrete. I might cut that off a little bit so that there's yeah, I should. I'll saw those off so that the concrete won't show the end of that. In addition, if I wanted to, this to be a definite arc, I could cut boards to match that. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that with it'll evolve itself. The pad, of course, will be poured concrete around the post. This whole thing will become super rigid, super strong. And I honestly think, with taking care of the concrete to seal it and whatnot, it'll last a couple of 100 years, provided people want this for a couple of 100 years, It won't be so big that somebody couldn't come in with an excavator and just rip it out, But pretty pleased. Let me go ahead and gather up. This rebar has some bends in it. I don't want to mess with bends. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to drill through the post all the way through and pass the rebar through. From there, I'll put a little bend in it, and I'll bend it down to here, to this point, and I'll drill a hole, and then I'll feed the rebar into the hole. So I'm expecting it to have a little, I don't know, maybe angle, maybe bend. I'm not sure how that'll work out. We'll find out together on both sides. If I can get that done, I'll be happy. For those of you who've been watching the channel, you'll know that I go out and rescue stuff. This rebar, I showed up on site for it and a couple of things. A family had it listed for sale. I had $500 in my pocket. Well, it turned out the fire ants had buried most of it. So that which I thought was 100 pieces turned out to be, I don't know, about 900 pieces of rebar, I think. These are in bundles of 20. And there's, well, I'm going to say there's 500 rebar in here, which turned out, and then of course the end pieces, which turned out that it's like $400 a pack. So, and we talked about it when I bought it, because I felt I was doing them unkind, but they just wanted to sell the house, and they needed this gone, and we agreed what I had in my pocket was enough. Those kind of deals are nice to run into. They make building a house off grid a joy. Alright, so everything I built here, I've built to ADA standards. This is 36 inches across here. So I want to continue on with that. I don't just want to guess. So I looked it up, and ADA rails are a little farther down for people in wheelchairs to grab. So it looked like there's different standards on height, all the way from 30 inch clear up to 48 inch. I'm just going to pick something that I like, and keep in mind I'm adding 3 to 4 inches here. Maybe even 5 inches with in some spots. So, I'll add that on and mentally raise it from where my hand says it's comfortable. All right, I'm all done with the carpentry work except the finish, which is cutting off the top so they're all level. And I'll wait for that until after I pour the concrete, and I'll measure from there. That way I won't have little weird things. I could get a 1/4 inch, and then there'll be a solar light in the middle, and on the end will be round, near old. They look cast iron posts, but nowadays they're aluminum. They'll be really nice. They definitely will have an old world vibe about them. It feels a lot more solid now that I've got it in there. One other thing I might do when I pour is I might go from post to post and with a temporary bracing and make sure they're all square to each other. They're not bad, just like this, but they're a little bit off, especially that one. I noticed that one more than any other. So in other words, I'll brace the tops, I'll X them, I'll just make them good. I've been walking over the top of this all day long. It is rough. If I was to make a wooden one of these that I wanted people to look at, I would start with a lot higher quality materials, and I wouldn't use coyote fence on the bottom. I'd use real wood on the bottom. I'd make sure everything's level, square, plumb. This turned out really well. It's called a davinci bridge. It's also called an Archimedes bridge. It's also a Far East Asian method of building bridges without fasteners, but it worked out really well. I'm thinking it's looking good. I think the delicate wrought iron railings look really nice. They're just rebar up in there. I don't even know if I'm going to paint them because rebar is, Core 10 steel. Once it gets a patina on it, that's it. It's done. So, all right. Well, there we go. I've got to do the footings around there, make it look like a cliff, decorative, pour some concrete, and this has been about a week's worth of work off and on. I've been busy. It's been a holiday weekend, so not straight through, not 8-hour days. We're talking 2 hours here, 2 hours there, running, going, getting supplies. So I think you could build a 10-foot. This is a 10, or it was originally 12-foot, but I cut some off. 10-foot davinci bridge over a pond, which is waterless at the moment. This is storm clouds above me. If the storm comes, it's going to have to sit there until it dries out again. So I should have been doing earth bag today, but I didn't have that kind of time. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get started on earth bag. I got to dig some dirt. So anyway, looking forward to that. This piece of rebar right there, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to clean everything up. Pretty happy with this. I think you would be happy if you built one too.